All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Obviously, that was a tough loss. We controlled most of the game, I felt like. That late interception, obviously the pick six, around 2.5 minutes left in the game, definitely changed the outcome of that game. I know immediately a lot of you guys are going to wonder if I'm faulting Dalton on that. That's something I'm going to have to talk to Coach Pagano about, figure out why we were throwing that late in the game when we were up, but obviously the running game wasn't going. And that probably had something to do with it. They still had their timeouts, not enough time there too much time there to run the clock out. So obviously there were probably some errors all up and down the coaching lineup there, but Coach Pagano and me will have a conversation about that eventually. Looking forward, heading into the offseason, we're going to evaluate a lot of positions. Obviously, we've got an aging team. Defensive line, we just re-signed Carlos Dunlap, but Geno Atkins is on the last year of his contract. We've had some conversations with Geno's representatives, and from what we can tell, he's not exactly excited for the tag, but would be willing to accept that. So tag is an option there for Geno Atkins. Jake Fisher, we have to re-sign Jake. Jake's our right tackle. He's a big part of this team. We have broken off conversations there. I'm not sure if we're going to get a deal done, but we're going to make an attempt to do that here before free agency starts up. Looking at our plans to free agency, I think, we're going to look up and down the lineup. There's some places we could try to improve. I think another cornerback's in play, whether that's through free agency or the draft. Maybe some defensive line help in our linebacking core. Relatively happy with, but we'll see what happens there. Depending on what happens with Jake, we'll have to make a decision on what we do with right tackle. That's something that definitely will be on our minds as we head into the offseason. The draft, obviously, great opportunity. A lot of good kids out there this year. Couple positions really stacked, I would say, this year. Wide receiver, cornerback being one of those. Center is a very good one. We obviously drafted Seahorn a couple years back, but there's a couple guys that we feel like in this draft could play guard, so that's something we'll consider as we move forward. We do have 6 picks in the first 64 picks of this draft, so we've got a lot of room to move. I'm not sure that our team could handle taking on so many guys. Obviously, we got the 6 in the first 64, but we also have the 3rd through 7th that we have to do something with as well, and I'm not sure we can handle that many picks making our roster. So there may be some trading coming here. We've been on the phone with a couple teams, and we'll look to see what we can do here heading into the draft. I would probably guess we're going to try to make a move up, but there's a lot of options still left on the table. So I can go ahead and take a couple questions over here.
Do you plan to bring Coach Pagano back next season?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We have been in talks with Coach Pagano and his representatives. Obviously, he's not happy with the way the season ended. We've talked about some contract stuff here. I foresee that he will be the coach the rest of this contract, but that's something that ownership will have to talk about. But I do expect Coach Pagano to be back next year. Let's go over here.
After that pick 6, what's the outlook for Andy Dalton?
Yeah, so like we talked about the open, Andy, made a bad throw there, but that's not really dictating our decisions heading into this offseason. Andy's got a big contract number, and I think he made 12.6 this year. That goes up to around 21.6 here in the next year or two. So obviously he's getting a little bit up there in age. We would like to have Andy back as long as it works for the team and Andy. So we'll have to look at his cap number, figure out what we can do there, and kind of go from there. So let's go ahead and take one more. Yeah, obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers are a very good team. To get over that hump, that's something we haven't been able to do the last couple seasons. Obviously, we're 0-8 over the last 3 seasons against them, 0-7. That's a big issue. The easiest route to a Super Bowl is through winning your own division, and that's not something we've been able to do. So obviously this offseason, we're going to take a lot of time to try to go out of here and see if we can't come up with some sort of plan to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, because right now they're king of this division. So